Hello, everyone. It's Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we find, learn, and play one more turn of the great strategy games. Now, today we're going to continue on with our Let's Play of Gary Grigsby's War in the Pacific Admiral's Edition. This is episode number 24, I believe. This will be turn number 4, so it is December 11th, 1941. Now, at the end of last episode, we resolved the previous turn and we didn't really go dig into the numbers at all. Now, in between that, I did do a live stream yesterday that you can find on the channel if you're interested in it. But basically, I was sitting there setting up the units for this turn, which I usually do off camera or, off of recording. And I thought, well, I'm just sitting around here doing this. Why not record it? I can chat with some people while I'm doing it. And it ended up being a lot of fun. There were quite a few people that stopped by and were interested in kind of watching the meatloaf be made, so to speak, how dinner is prepared. And so, anyway, I went into some of the decision making that I do when I'm setting up units. We talked about how I do the spreadsheet. We moved down the spreadsheet and kind of went item by item and talked about it a little bit. And I also got to screw up a transport over here at Cape Town, which is so funny. I probably have not, and you say, sure, whatever. I probably haven't done this with a transport in so long, and literally as I was talking about, don't do this, don't start to load something onto a transport unless you really mean to do it. Uh, just as I was talking about that, it happened, which is this. You see all of these artillery that we have loaded on here. I started to do that, which is fine. You're going to do that sometimes, where you start to load, and then you say, you know what? I don't want to do that now. The mistake happened is when you go to verify load, or if you click off of that screen while it still says loading unit on the initial screen, so let's just see. Let's go someplace that I know has transports, like LA. LA has some transports down here. Let's make a really quick task force, and then we'll just disband it when we're done. But let's, shoot, I don't know. The President Jackson. Oh, during that live stream, I did form the President Jackson. I came back here and disbanded it because we're not going to move the forces out to Nomaya just yet. We are moving the airplanes, but we're not going to do that. And we'll go into it before we, or as we talk about this episode, we'll go into that part of the setup. But let's just say that we've got the President Jackson here and we say load troops, okay? When you hit select unit, so let's just say we're going to do the 8th Marine Regiment, okay? Now, this doesn't work, right? But if we go and click any place else or start moving around, it's going to start locking in that one little chit, as I call it a chit. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't mean anything to someone that hasn't played a board game or hasn't played cards or something like that. What I basically mean is they're going to load 1% of this unit onto the President Jackson, the transport ship. Why does the game do that? Well, because it's essentially establishing a hook into that transport while it's loading. It wants to, it wants to show you, hey, I got your order. We're loading up, sir. So we've put 1%, on the President Jackson. Well, once you do that, if you messed up, you have to spend a whole turn then unloading that one little bit, um, which can be very frustrating. And, it's one of those things that I really try not to do and probably haven't done in a long time. But as I was talking, sometimes I get to talking and I'm not paying enough attention, or you feel a little bit of the time crunch when you do it on video. uh, I messed up. And so sure enough, those AA units that are out in Cape Town, we'll go look at them again. What I needed to do, or what you should do when this happens to you, and it will happen from time to time, is, come here, just click back to select unit. Now nothing has been loaded on the President Jackson, no troops. We'll disband that. We're going to come back and talk about LA here at some point. But first of all, let's do what I always like to do after a turn resolves, and that is look at the intelligence report, just see how we're doing, how things are going. Today, we ran quite a few more sorties than the Japanese. We still do not have good visual on their main task force. Uh, it's kind of interesting. I would have expected to definitely have that by now. If we go, let's just go out into the Pacific here. We see, some Japanese naval activity here. These are submarines. Ship sighted two, okay, they're submarines. Ship sighted two, again. These are going to be submarines out here. You can tell by the icon, really, but just common sense tells you they're not going to be floating something that's only one or two ships into this hornet's nest. I mean, we have a lot of aircraft. We have a lot of, I mean, we have 116 ships in port. We will get to that in this one too. I'm going to give it one more turn. Normally, I would have the ships out of or starting to move here in Pearl Harbor at this point. Um, and I just want to give it one more turn. We still don't have that visual sighting yet. Now, the Japanese tried to attack Midway with a very, very small force. It was repulsed. Um, we, beat them back down. We still have, we have the Marine Defense Battalion out here, which has an assault of 60, and we have the base force out here with 12. So we have 72. So we left enough here. I say we left enough. We didn't really have much of a choice. We have enough here to mount a decent defense. The Japanese can't just walk on here with one single little unit and take Midway. And so that's exactly what they tried to do. They couldn't do it. Now, the Kido Butai is out here somewhere. You know, it's most likely in here, although we've got naval search coming this way. We have some submarines down here. It's just very curious that we have not spotted that yet. So anyway, let's go back to our intelligence report, and then we'll go and jump around the map a little bit. And then at the end of the episode, I'll resolve this turn. I have everything set up the way I want it. Uh, I'll tell you, these early turns are a lot. There may be even more than the initial setup because now you're having to start to think. And we will go into a little bit of a strategy session here, what we're doing, what we're thinking. You will notice this turn, we're starting to move transports out of San Francisco, out of LA, even something out of Seattle that I'm moving. And so we'll again go talk about that. But let's look at this. Look at the intelligence today. Sorties, we outnumber the Japanese, and as a matter of fact, it's running pretty even for the campaign. I like to see this. They have 5 air-to-air losses today, and we had 0, evening that score up a little bit. No destroyed on the fields. Okay. Uh, of course, if we were playing the December 7th scenario as opposed to the December 8th, this would be much, much higher. For us, I'm sorry, for us over here. Destroyed by flak, we got 2 this time. That's nice. Get 2 or 3 a turn and you start really taking down that Japanese uh, pilot pool, which is really, really what the important part here. At least early on, the first couple of years, the Japanese can crank out some aircraft, um, but they start to lose good pilots. And if you can just keep chipping away, stay even or a little head to them on air to air, keep knocking out a few by flak. You see here 5 operational losses. Now, we took quite a few operational losses. I tried to look around and figure out exactly why that was. There didn't seem to be any specific reason for that. I will say we are running most of our planes at extended range. Um, I'm doing that early with a lot of planes that are not going to be important to us later on. Specifically, I'm talking about Borneo, the Philippines, um, even Java. Singapore to some extent. Now, operational losses could be that, they sustained some damage and then they crashed coming back into the field. I just don't know if the game would consider that an actual air-to-air loss. I believe it considers an operational loss if it's damaged and then, becomes unoperational when it gets, when it lands. So, be that as it may, I could not find any specific reason for high operational losses other than we are running extended radius. And to complete the thought a minute ago, as the game moves on, I will start running less and less extended radius and run more normal radius. You know, uh, we could all have a conversation for quite some time how big of a difference that'll make for operational losses. I do know that it makes a difference. And of course it should. This game models everything so well. If you're flying things out to their extended range, they should take more operational losses. You're taking more of a risk that they're going to have a hard time getting back to the airfield. So anyway, we took quite a few this time. I wasn't happy about it. I went and looked around, and again, I didn't find anything that satisfied me that I had a reason for it. Political points, still looking okay there, 149. There's been a really active discussion. I think I have some Aussies on the channel. There's been a very active discussion about what to do with our Australian troops that are actually just outside of Singapore. They're holding Johor Bahru and Mersing. Let's just go look. Um, there's been a spirited discussion what to do about these Australian troops. We have this Australian unit here, the 22nd Australian Brigade. We have this unit, which is the 27th Australian Brigade. These are both really nice units. This has got a 96 assault strength. Now, eventually, they be, they could be formed back up into the 8th Australian Division. So we see Mersing, Johor Bahru. We have these guys on the task force. We have someone at Rabaul, and we have them at Darwin. you know, this 8th Division, Australian Division, is a worldly group. They are all over the map. That Gold Battalion, we have actually heading over here to Broome. Were we able to reform the 8th Division, I would probably get them out of Broome and put something else there. The reason being is if you have battalions that will form a division, they have a greater assault strength together than they do broken apart. Okay, so if we could form that 8th division all together, and you may say, if you didn't watch the tutorial, or even if you did, and this part just, kind of flew by, uh, you can always go, well, I say always. I mean, in a situation like this, when you have a brigade like this, you can always go down here to unit organization of the 8th Australian Division. Okay, that sounds interesting. What is it? What it is all of the component parts, and you'll see up here in white, um, the bigger grouping, which would be the division, right? It's generally three brigades or three regiments or three battalions that would make up a division. In this case, obviously, we have two brigades and three battalions. Now, you may say, what's the difference between a brigade and a battalion? Well, that comes down to size. Also, then you have, throw in the complication of regiments, right? And regiments and battalions are kind of similar, but battalions generally have a specific purpose. I think that's why they were named, Sparrow, Lark. Battalions usually are more focused on a specific purpose. Generally, it's always generalizations, right? You can't say 100%. But anyway, the point is if we can get these all in the same location, once we did that, this would become active. Well, I say this button here, rebuild unit, would become active. We would click on that, and this would form up into one nice counter called the 8th Australian Division. All right. So the other part of that was here, I believe. Yeah, it's part of the 8th. It's in Mersing. Now the problem, the complicate, you may say, oh, well, you got to go get those Aussies out. We've got to. Well, I understand the thought, certainly. I do like to have this brigade here at Mersing because it does fend off an easy landing. That being said, by the Japanese, an easy landing amphibious. That being said, we could move one of these British forces down there. Just clicking through here, you see unit organization. They're not part of a bigger organization. Now, this is 3rd Heavy AA, but it's not with its other component parts. None of these are of a bigger organization, really, in the Malay army. The Australians are, and then we also have these New Zealand engineers that we may try to get out. Um, and so, wow, I've really gone down a rabbit hole here. The point is that, let's go back here. They are attached to the Malayan army. All right, so they're restricted to Malaya as of now. We can buy them out. It costs 291 points to buy this one out. We have 149. So this brigade is 291. The other brigade here at Johor Bahru is going to be 346 points. Now, I'm not saying it's not worth it. I mean, if you can put this all together and have an 8th Australian Division that goes and sits at Port Moresby or sits at Darwin or eventually starts coming back up and trying to help take the Dutch East Indies, it's a very powerful unit. I get it. But you're talking about 650 political points, something like that. It's a big, big commitment. So I'm not going to say that we're not going to do it. Um, it's a lot of political points, though, and we have a lot of things to buy out or things that need to be bought out. We need to get other things that are Australian out into the Pacific. So we'll see. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that because we were looking at political points down here. 149, and that's really where it's coming up at this moment. I have bought some things out to send to Moresby, but as we go around the map, we'll talk about that. Yeah, I mean, we control a lot more bases. Now they've taken a few, Patani, no, Patani's not one. Kota Baru they've taken, and they've taken a few in the Philippines, and they've started to chip away. That will proceed, and this will start to even up quite a bit more. Um, hey, we're a little ahead in this game. The aircraft lost game. We have not inflicted any loss points on the Japanese army. They have put 91 on us. Some of that in China. Some of that here at Kota Baru. So it is what it is. You're going to lose early on, especially quite a bit on the ground, and especially in China. Now, thinking about China leads me to my setup that I was doing today. I spent quite a bit of time in China, and what I've decided to do going forward is that starting tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific, so what is that? 1 Eastern, noon Central, 11 Mountain, and I'm not going to try to do the conversions for Europe because I'm sure I would get it wrong, but at 10 a.m. Pacific tomorrow on both Twitch and YouTube, I will be sitting down and starting my turn preparation for turn 5. So at the end of this episode, we're going to resolve for turn 4, and that'll kind of be the end of the episode after we resolve here later on. Then, as I did yesterday, I'm going to do the setup part uh, on Twitch and YouTube. I'm going to just live stream that for anybody that wants to watch. So that will be tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Pacific. So that's a Thursday. On Friday, I will put out another episode like this, resolving turn 5. And then on Saturday morning at 10 a.m., I will again live stream my setup, and each time I will pick a different location where we're setting up. So I was thinking about that because next time or tomorrow morning we may look at China a lot closer, and just see what's going on in China, what our goals are in China, and just do that part of the setup on the live stream. Now, again, I'm going to treat that as kind of like, it's not like part 25 or something. I'm just doing that because essentially I'm sitting there setting the game up and playing the game. If somebody wants to watch and talk about the game and do that, why not? I'm doing it anyway. And so I'm going to get in a routine here where we're live streaming. Um, Again, what's tomorrow? Thursday? No, tomorrow's. I keep losing the days. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Yes, tomorrow is Wednesday. So I'm going to do that tomorrow. Sorry if I messed that up before. I lost track of the days. Tomorrow is Wednesday. I'm going to do that at 10 a.m. I'm going to do it Friday at 10 a.m. Then I'm going to do our regular live stream, what I'll consider our regular live stream, where we resolve a turn, we talk about where the game is and whatnot, where we are. I'm going to do that every Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific. That'll be, kind of like quote unquote the official live stream of the week. And then we'll get going again. Then on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'll do the setup live streams. You can watch that, Twitch, YouTube, or you can just wait until it's uploaded and watch it then. And then I will be resolving turns and making episodes like this on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then we'll have our regular live stream on Sunday. If any of that was confusing, I totally understand. Just remember, tomorrow, Wednesday, and then again on Friday, I'll be live streaming at 10 a.m. Pacific. And then Sunday, I will always be live streaming on Sundays at 10 a.m. Pacific for kind of our weekly, live stream get together, something a little more official. Hey, we're all buddies here now. It's not that official, right? Um, okay, so it just reminded me of that. Aircraft losses, we could go over here and look. Today, air to air, flak, total. We have lost P-40E Warhawks mainly. The Japanese have lost some Bettys. They've lost some Lilies. Um, some buffaloes have gone down. We've lost, so the Warhawk has taken a little bit of a beating for us. We are knocking Bettys out of the sky. I like that, and lilies. So that's good. That's good. If we lose some Warhawks, hey, we're shooting, we're putting them up in the air for a reason, and that's to knock down as many uh, Japanese aircraft as we can, and we're doing a pretty good job of that. Now we are going to be getting some planes next turn. We are going to get these Audax 1s at Calcutta. Okay. Part of the RAF. Fine. All right. We're going to be getting Seagulls at on the Hobart. Okay. Interesting. So on the light cruiser Hobart, we will be getting a one, one seagull. But it's nice to have them fly recon out and around the cruiser. And then we get some more H-81A3s at Rangoon. Great. Um, okay, fine. This is actually coming back from the pool. Both of those are. So the Audax will be showing up next turn. That's really the headliner there. Um, Oh, I guess I can do that from there. Interesting. Okay, reinforcement schedule group withdrawals. We have one coming up in 8 days at Kwanton. Now let's go look at this group. Exit. Uh, okay, where did it go? Why did that happen? Weird. Um, okay, at Kwanton. There we go. It's only two aircraft. They, their recon. I like to have the recon up. Um, Let's actually go to Quanton while we're at it. I said I had everything done for this turn, but I actually didn't go over here and look at these things because I knew that we would do it. So let's go to Quanton. Oh, it's these guys, right? Okay. Um, hmm, yeah, they're they're actually going straight up to Patani here. So that's how we have quite a bit of this recon here um, on them. So we know what's going on. These guys, they're going to be withdrawing anyway. We might as well keep throwing them into the heat of the action there. Keep getting intel on what's happening up here or, is coming over here because they're going to be taken off the board anyway. If they get shot down, it's not the end of the world. Okay, so that's withdrawal. Aircraft replacement pool. We'll go look at that at some point this early in the game. I'm not going to do that. Top pilots. Okay, we still have some guys with just 2 kills. We'll have our first aces here soon enough. Um, we had 10 killed in action in the campaign, 3 today, unfortunately. Um, okay, and let's go back here. Pilot replacements, we'll go look at that at some point too. Ship sunk. Now we did lose the high Lee last time, which was 7 points. I told you as long as it's under 8 points, it doesn't really raise my blood pressure that much, because those are just going to happen. Early in the game, you may lose some that are over 8 points. Later in the game, I feel like, unless you're duking it out in a surface battle, it's just bad planning if you're losing things worth more than 8 points because you have got a bunch of cheap transports and cheap things like this that should be going into the hot zones. And your more valuable pieces should be back behind your Iron Curtain. For the most part, again, you are going to get in some surface battles, or you may lose a ship to a submarine. I say there's not much you can do about that. Of course, you could always plan a little better, but sometimes you're just going to lose things like that, and it's not worth getting upset about. Nothing that I see here makes me upset at all. It's just going to happen. Our 2 battleships, those were just taken down because they were literally on fire at a 99 level when we started the game. So oh, that reminds me, I did go look at the repairer at Pearl Harbor. That's coming along, and things started to get repaired this turn. Things down in Australia, there were a couple ships in Australia that got repaired, and so things are starting to reappear out of the shipyard. When they are done in the shipyard, you will see them again as a ship at port. You do not have to go and do anything to get them out of the repair yard. They will just show up there. Um, cool. Ship availability. We have anything new coming in? Let's go get an ETA here. Yeah, we've got quite a few things actually. We've got the Hobart coming in at Aden. It will probably go to Colombo and match up there. We've got the Hermes, which is a light carrier, there, and we've got quite a few other capital ships at Colombo. That's kind of where I'm having them. I don't want to say hide, but I'm definitely not looking to challenge the Japanese anywhere with a task force made up of those ships. We'll leave them at Colombo in case the Japanese get any idea to push into the bay there, but really they're just kind of hanging out. We've got transport, that's always good, and quite a few cargo vessels. We got some coming into San Diego, including that transport. Balboa and Cristobal gets a couple more transports. Then another transport at Aden. So that's good. Very good, actually. Oh, look at that. So we're going to get at the Cruiser Australia at Sydney in 4 days. We also, have some other AKs, a tanker that shows up at Abaddon, always very welcome. But this is really the highlight coming down here, which is in 5 days, we start to get a bunch of destroyers down at the Panama Canal. Essentially, the U.S. has sailed them down from the East Coast. They are now going to be coming through the Panama Canal. Once the Pacific War started, they have radar and they are much better ships. I will always pair these up with the carriers. And so what I do with these destroyers when they come on the board is I sail them directly to Pearl Harbor where all three of our carriers are, and I will then shift out the other destroyers and shift these in. If you look, these are all four. I think they're all four. I'm not going to sit here and go through every one, but I think they're all four anti-sub, which is better. Right now, the destroyers in our carrier task forces are twos for the most part. So we're going to sail them straight to Pearl Harbor. We'll then pull those destroyers out, have them either, well, we'll just send them to wherever we need ASW coverage. They're not great. They're only a two. That's why I put the more valuable and better destroyers with the carriers. Okay, so we have ship withdrawal. I don't think we really have much coming up in the way of ship withdrawal. Let's see. Yeah, of course I did that backwards. Let's go. 53 days. We've got no worries there. Ground reinforcements. We have interesting. Okay, we have all of these um, three Indian Corps, yeah, that are organized. So they're organizing up right now in Cape Town. Oh. These are the guys that just came. Okay, this is the AA stuff that I didn't get on the transport correctly. It is now unloading, so that's why it says organizing. It just arrived this turn, and then created mass confusion in the port of Cape Town. Then we have these other units that will be showing up at Cape Town and Aden. And then we are going to start getting a lot of US stuff, just a ton of it everywhere. And we'll have to deal with that because we do not have enough transports. We never do. All right, so this gets us through most of this. I mean, we can look at withdrawal in days. We have something in 10 days. Um, that's fine. Not going to worry about that right now. Let's just jump around the map really quickly, and I'll talk about some of the things that I noticed or I thought about. I will say at Rangoon, I got the I got the bombers out of there. Now you still see the counter here. It's just because this is damaged. It will eventually jump out of here. I flew those to Calcutta. We just do not need bombers here. We bombed Chiang Mai on turn one. I personally don't even really usually attack this. I think the part of the reason we do it is to activate some stuff with the AI, but whatever. I hit that with the bomber the first time. These guys are marching down here. I mean, I'm following the path, but I am going to get the bombers out of here because we just need fighters here. And so I'm getting as many fighters up in cap as I can. To the extent anything at Rangoon is training, anything that we have here now, I don't really think it needs to be. Now, 59 experience is not good, really. It's okay. It's not bad. It's okay. But you got to get these guys up in cap because we're going to start having a lot of stuff come into Rangoon. Here's a 60. 54, not great. Would rather, go ahead and train these, and you can click these over. But one thing I wanted to point out is fatigue. Watch the fatigue. If it gets up above 15 or 20, you really want to crank down on the cap. As a matter of fact, this is 16. Let's break that down to a 50% cap. Um, this guy is still an 8. That's all right. 12. Okay, I've already got him down to 50. Let's just run 50 with everybody. They're at 10. You do not want these guys to get worn out. At Rangoon, we currently do not have enough aviation support. That's why Cole tells you to wait. I did not wait, but there is more aviation support on the way. I think it rails there this turn. So I've already got it there. if you want to follow exactly what he says, that's fine. Um, Calcutta, the reason I want to get that cap really up there is it's going to be this next turn, things are going to start flooding out of Calcutta and heading down to Rangoon. We also have this line of stuff. Now, some of these are going this way, but we now have stuff coming this way that's going to get into Rangoon. Um, so Cape Town, I talked about on the live stream a little bit. For anybody that wasn't on that, this is that French transport that didn't get loaded properly. The Cycleman, uh, it's an ASW, really is what you want to do with it. It's a 4. We may throw that over to Colombo at some point. Running ASW at Cape Town, sometimes it's kind of like, what's the purpose? The Japanese aren't going to be threatening Cape Town, at least you know, anyway, we may run that over to Colombo. We'll see. We've got some stuff heading this way, heading that way. A lot of things on the move. You see out here in the Bay of Bengal, we have some things going to Port Blair, some things down to Rangoon. I was talking about those capital ships. I don't really have them formed up into anything right now. You've got the cruisers and the light cruisers. We have a subtender and we have a transport. If we go out to, oh, you know what I did? I actually put the Hermes into repair. It has 10 system damage, none of it major, but I just threw it in the shipyard for 6 days. Let's get it repaired up. Why not? We're not using it for anything right now. Um, you also have these KVs, the Corvettes out here. We want those running anti-sub stuff. And we have this transport group. They're sitting here for now. I think we still haven't met our garrison requirement, which, okay. Um, yeah, I'll come back and look at these next turn, and nothing's burning. There's no burning questions in Colombo right now. So we've talked about Rangoon. If we come down, we had a bunch of ships show up at Palembang this time. I'm loading them all up with fuel, popping them through the strait and straight down to Perth. Uh, I think pretty much all of them out of Palembang. There's a lot of stuff there. Um, to the extent I really should move that transport. Well, I'm going to leave that here for this turn. But you need to get that stuff out of there. We do have these transports sitting here. We have task forces. They can take things out. You can decide what you want to take out. There is British stuff that we can take out. I know the Australians feel very strongly about getting the Australians out. You can do that. Generally, if you take 3 Indian Corps out, I think that's free. So you kind of have to decide what you want to get out of there. You need to get some stuff out of there, and when you do, you probably want to take it to. But now, if they're British forces, um, you can just drop them back a little bit. If they're Australian, I would probably take them all the way to Darwin because you eventually want to form that up. Hell, you may take them to Darwin or to Port Moresby, kind of whatever floats your boat there. The British stuff just kind of depends what you want to do. What do I usually do? I usually bring them back if I'm playing a human and we haven't really agreed not to Fortress Palembang. Although I really, I've played enough now that I even propose that we don't do Fortress Palembang. But if you are playing a game like that, you can drop them back here and make this really impenetrable. Same with Batavia or Swerbaya. You maybe even want to do something tricky, like run them back around this direction. I say tricky, this is probably historically what should be done, and bring them back up here to Calcutta, to Rangoon. You just basically, flip around, just go through that strait. Do When I say go through it, do not go through the Strait of Malacca. Come down this way, go here, go out, by the Cocos, and then, up this way. Otherwise, you're going to really catch the eye of Japanese bombing. Um, the situation's dire over here. You can't sugarcoat that. They are going to get attacked and soon. We do have some ships getting some stuff Over here, including at Miri, which unloaded some supplies, it was remaining on station. We're getting it out of here. We've got this Japanese task force here. You see all of our ships that and out of Hong Kong. Look at all of this. Excuse me. Bunch of stuff out of the Philippines. There was a comment this time. Look at this base force here at Cebu. Excuse me, I'm gonna get a drink. I was getting a little dry there. Excuse me. You do have a good base force here at Cebu. That is true. And also these pluses remind me, we will go into one of these live streams about going back in and figuring out what replacements are needed. The reason it says replacements delayed is remember when we went on the information screen and we looked at the resource pools, we turned all of those off. Okay. And so this thing is looking for replacements. We have it on, but we don't have the big pool on. So the where it would come from, we don't have on. So it's not being produced. And so they can sit here and request it all day long. Hold on, let me back up. It is being produced, but we're stockpiling it. Okay. So we turned stockpiling on. I think a minute ago I said we turned it off. What I really meant is we turned the spigot off. We are stockpiling things right now. And so USMC rifle squads. We probably have quite a few of those in the pool. We are going to go look at that at the next live stream and kind of go into what we may want to turn on, what might be important. I mean, building up this Cebu base force isn't going to do us a lot of good if we're not going to try to either get them out of here or somehow buffer that up or get them more supplies or something. They've got 2,000 in supply. Cebu, well, we'll come back to that in the live stream. We'll see what happens this turn too, because we have Japanese task forces on the northwest side, on the north side, Baton Island. We have more on the way, and so we have, things are really kicking off here. They really have not done anything here except for this task force. Looks like maybe it wants to come here and land, but nothing much has happened in Borneo, nothing in the Dutch East Indies yet. We've got a lot of stuff moving around. Oh, I should mention we're taking some oil out of Tarakan. The minute we get ships here, we'll take oil out. Did I say oil? I mean fuel. I'm sorry. Fuel out of Balikpapan. So that will be good. In Australia, we've got a lot of stuff moving around, but it's still from turn one orders. There's not a whole lot to do. Eventually, we'll have to start moving stuff out into the Pacific. But I say eventually because that time is not now. Looks like we are dropping off some stuff here at Lord Howe. So, those base forces that we have down in Tasmania will be coming to Lord Howe and Norfolk. This turn, we started to think about stuff on the West Coast, and that's where I'm going to go, I think, before we resolve the turn, is the West Coast. But before I get there, I'll just reiterate one more time. We're holding one more turn before Pearl Harbor. We've got 116 ships in port. If I was feeling adventurous, I would I'd take some of those 10 or 15 destroyers that we have there and get them out here and try to just run these subs out. I'm not feeling adventurous yet. I do not like the fact we don't know where their main task force is. Next turn, though, we're going to start running all kinds of anti-sub stuff here. We'll also get those destroyers in play, taking supply and fuel down to our Iron Crescent, Christmas Island, Palmyra, all Pago Pago, all of these places. Now, speaking of Pago Pago, so we had a couple of interesting things happen this turn. We have some stuff showing up in San Diego, but I don't really let's talk about this though. Okay, so I'm starting to form this up. Now we're not moving out to Nomaya yet. We want a couple of more transports because there is a lot of stuff here that's going out to Nomaya, but I've started to form up what that transport task force is going to look like. It's not leaving yet, so I'm not going to send it out in the Pacific, but this group is. So if you did watch the live stream, we looked at this. There are new P-39s that have shown up. 3 new squadrons here, and if we just go look at one of those squadrons, they're loading in as cargo here. If we go and look at one of these, 23 planes. That's very nice. Now you may say, damage, what's going on? We're loading them on to a cargo ship. So these are going to show not ready, not serviceable until we get them out to Pago, and then they'll build them up there. I think it takes a couple of days. It's not that much. Now it's showing we don't have enough fuel. Oh, and I will point out these are all cargo ships. When you load planes on, even though, of course, you're probably transporting the pilots if you're being realistic of how this probably worked, but you don't need, to transport any troops. You're transporting the planes. We've got these 2 destroyers here. They will accompany out until we believe they're safe. Then they'll peel off and come back. We're going to be doing that with a lot of task forces. With these kind of your crappier destroyers. They're twos. They don't have good endurance. They have, their speed's okay, but they don't have much endurance, and so they are going to peel off. Now, one thing to do with something like this is if you see this in red and you think, gosh, I just don't know, did these guys need more fuel or something? You can always hit replenish from uh, task force from port and click that. And if they are, let's just say Lawrence and Rathburn came down from San Francisco and they had used fuel, and we put them in this task force, and they didn't have a full tank here. It says 100%. You can always go here and see. If this said 80%, you can click on replenish task force from port and it will fill them up, um, instead of you letting the natural operation of the game do that. You can do that yourself. I don't know if we ever talked about that, but anyway, these guys are headed out to um, Nomaya. Okay, so I'm bringing them. I'll just show you my waypoints. I'm being very careful with them. Okay, and there's no reason not to because they don't have to get to Nomaya for a little bit. They'll be fine. I'm bringing them south of Tahiti. All right. Now, if Tahiti was built up a little bit more, I would probably have this refuel, but I'm not going to. I'm instead going to have them come to Auckland, refuel here. And if we look at the waypoints, um, yeah, so do not, this is the first one. But then at Auckland, I'm going to have them do a full refuel, and then they're going to go straight into Nomaya, and then they're going to make sure you hit return the same route, okay? So they're going to Nomaya. Now, what's interesting is their command unit is up here, and this is not something that Cole said to do. I'm just doing it. U.S. Grant, I filled that up with, if we go look, the 2 U.S. Fighter Command. Those P-39s down there are part of the 2 U.S. Fighter. Okay, and so I am getting them going to Nomaya right now. The Grant is a pretty fast ship. They should actually probably get there before the planes do, which is what I would like to happen. So I'm sending that on its way. We want to get them out there eventually anyway. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So the grant is on its way. The only other thing to talk about is this task force that is going to. Okay, so this is the one we're forming up for Nomaya. More stuff going to Nomaya, and you can start to see the plan, right? We're going to build up Nomaya as much as we can, and we're also going to take planes out there, which will be great. Was this in San Diego? Yeah, maybe it's in San Diego that I was thinking about. No. Where's this group? San Francisco. Oh, okay. Uh, this group in San Francisco, this transport group, is a big one. And we've got three destroyers going with it. Again, they will peel off at some point, but they are going to Pago Pago, and they are going there with actually two base forces because one's going to Pago, one's going to Savi, which is on the north end of that island. They're taking the 34th Infantry. They're taking this artillery, I believe. Yep. What else are they taking? Oh, they're taking the construction regiment. This is all going to Pago Pago. So this is kind of building the other side of that, bottom part of the chain link fence that runs from Nomaya to Pago Pago. Then we start to clear north up to Christmas and Palmyra, but we are sending a lot of stuff out there to Pago Pago, a very important transport group. So we have three destroyers with it. You see all of this stuff that's going. For the most part, they all have a nice speed here, 14, 16. So we've got infantry, construction, infantry, the two base forces. And if we do go out to, I'll show you the way I'm going. I'm again routing them south first around Tahiti. Now a lot of people would say this is a true abundance of caution. You could just cut the corner here, but why? If they're not at Pago Pago for an extra 3 turns or 5 turns, it's not the end of the world. They'll get there. They'll get there before the Japanese. As a matter of fact, if anything, you let the Japanese mature their submarine activity here, and you can send more ASW, and you can, kind of figure out what they're doing a little bit. But that's all going to Pago Pago. Now, I said one of the base forces is going to Savi. Here is Savi. So what we'll do is we'll split that one transport off from the task force, and we'll have it go unload at Savi once they get here. Okay, so I think that really kind of talks a little bit about strategy, what's going on this turn, what we're doing. And so I think I am going to go save the turn. And let's call this, let's play um, 5 pre. Okay, pre-turn. This is actually resolving turn 4, but it's pre-5. Let's do that. Save, save, save. While this is doing that, and before we get going again, I just want to go over the schedule I said before in case I confused anyone. Wednesday morning, tomorrow, 10 a.m., I will do a live stream just of my setup of what's happened this turn. Or so I'm not going to go through everything that happens. I'll do that on the regular episode that I'll be doing on Thursday. Tomorrow, I'm just going to do a live stream because I would normally just be setting up for our next turn. I'm going to live stream that if you want to watch it. I'm not going to call that an official episode. I'll just do that every other day at 10 a.m. I will do a live stream of setting up our next turn. Then on Thursday, so 2 days from now, I will do a regular episode that goes through turn 5. Then on Friday, again, I will do that stream. So it's kind of an every other day schedule. On Saturday, then I will do an episode. And then on Sunday, we'll do our regular stream where we kind of all get together for the week and say, hey, what's happened in the game? We'll go look at it together. We'll have the chat. It'll be kind of a more formal kind of live stream, I guess you would say. I'll always be doing that on Sunday, but on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I will live stream my turns. I may do it on Saturdays. I should say I may. I'm not positive. That may get vetoed by the wife. We'll see. Um, but normally, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'll live stream. Hey, this is how I'm setting up our next turn. Okay. Anyway, let's get out of here. We're saved up, and I'm always super cautious. I've now double saved. I will exit, and let's go ahead and reserve. I was going to say resolve this December 11th turn. This is turn 4, I guess you would say. Be very interested. We should learn a lot more this turn. There should be a lot more activity as far as our spotting goes, because the Japanese are going to be in full steam now. I really, really can't believe how, I don't want to jinx myself, but the game is already operating. I should just say, I can't believe how many ships we're getting out of Hong Kong, and out of the Philippines in general. Usually, I feel like the Japanese are much more aggressive going after that stuff out of Hong Kong. This time, it seems like they're a little more focused on getting ground troops in and getting, the Philippines swept up as fast as they can. But we'll see. This turn, they may, blow up 6 of our cargo ships that came out of Hong Kong. We'll find out. All right. It's assigning bombers to transport duty and taking a while to do it. Yeah, I think, as I said earlier, I think tomorrow morning we may do quite a bit of focus on China. I know that China really confuses a new player. I know it did me, and other people I've talked to, that they just don't know what to do in China. They don't really feel comfortable. Uh, the most of the other parts of the game or strategy, I should say, make a lot of sense to them. Oh, they're back at Wake here. That the rest, most parts of the strategy that we're trying to implement make sense, but they just don't understand like what are we trying to accomplish in China. And so I thought that maybe tomorrow morning we'll talk that out a little bit. All right, I do believe it was Wake last time that the Japanese tried to take with a very small force. They are now bombarding. Okay, not much going on there. It's a pretty decent sized force. A minefield at Vegan. Okay. Didn't seem like anything went down on that minefield, though. We didn't get any kind of alert. Mine sweeping, yes. We always do good mine sweeping at Singapore. If you were harvesting mines, it's a great place to do it. Hmm. Here we go. This is what I like to see. So the porpoise totally missed. Now this is pure shipping. So we've been running into a lot of destroyers. Torpedoes miss again. It seemed like all last turn, every time I saw a submarine, it had run. There we go. Oh, yes, the 14 explodes into this AK. It's probably not a very valuable ship, but that's okay. The more Japanese shipping we can take out, the better. Let's see how this resolves. 3 hits, torpedo hits 2, on fire, heavy damage. I think we will see that going down. Nice. Ah, this is good stuff here. This is the Dutch submarine. Um, this is right off the coast of, Saigon, Soctron here. Um, oh, and that's a transport too. Oh, we did hit it with something. Um, nice. So this is an AP, 1 torpedo hit. It's on fire, heavy damage. Wow, the submarine game is starting off really well for us this time. Ooh, boy. What is this? What do we have going on here? Let's see what. That's not good. So they're already coming around, trying to chase down. Looks like the Moonlock and the Hinseng went down. Captain Spanton has been killed. Okay, so 2 AKs have been sunk. We've got a light cruiser out here and 3 destroyers. All right. Not great, but I don't think that those ships were worth that much. I think we'll be all right. What do we have here? Okay. Was that a PG? I'm having a hard time seeing what our ship is there. Oh, yeah, it is a PG. So we're getting depth charges in. Oh no, that was our SS. Oh, I'm so sorry. That was our S-38 down there. We took 4 hits. Ah, not good. Not good. But it doesn't say heavy damage. We could maybe get it out of there. That should head straight back to Swerbaya. Hopefully we can get that repaired. Now we got the Sculpin out here, and it looks like again the Japanese had their PBs out here looking around. The Sculpin, nothing happens. We fired 2 torpedoes. They were searching for us, but no real result there. Got another Dutch sub here, another Japanese transport, and boy, we're striking gold right here. Look at this task force out here, and we have now hit our second transport. It's on fire, heavy damage, and this did have troops on it, as we see the casualties. So that's great. That's good submarine turn for this point, and boy, we were just in the right place. This is our Blenheims going into Patani. Now again, we just decided, hey, why not? Let's send them in there. We only had 1 damage, but they didn't really do much. That might be the last bit for those bombers. Now they have some sallies coming in. Not too much happened there. Sally's coming in again at Kuala Lumpur. We had, oh shoot, we had buffalo damage, buffalo destroyed on the ground, 1 and 1. I hate to see that with unguarded bombers coming in. Would have liked to seen the cap do something. Man, we are all over this task force here. We seem to have struck a bit of gold. We missed there. Um, yeah, we fired off 2 torpedoes, but no dice, unfortunately. Yeah, Japanese start bombarding Wake, just a matter of time. Again, they're going to have to bring more than they brought last time. We fended that off at Wake, and we really don't have much there, but that was a very weak. Okay, so troops coming off at Vegan. All right. Again, more bombardment of Wake. Unloading more troops at Vegan. Things are about to get really interesting down in the Philippines. Gonna get some nice ground combat down there very soon. Unloading at Wake again. More bombardment. They're really trying to soften us up. Now we did hit their AMC out here. Shell hits 5 on fire. We had these coastal guns firing. That's great. All right. Oh, look at this task force. Holy smokes. Yeah, well, I think we're gonna lose a couple. We just encountered them. Did they get out of there? Look at all this. Well, we've got good eyes on them now. Um, this has a tanker, an oiler, a ton of cargo. It really only has 1 transport, which is kind of weird. Um, oh, these are just our PT boats out there. So I think they got out of there. We didn't get. Yeah, they're going to, there's like, let's get out of here, guys. Can you imagine being on one of those PT boats and seeing a Japanese task force like that? This doesn't look good. Yeah, the Bulmer. So we had a destroyer out here. Unfortunately, it has taken two shell hits, but we're not seeing that it had, major damage or anything. So that's good. Air operations phase now. We'll kind of fast forward through some of the sightings. All right, we got a couple wildcats up out of Wake. They came in just with bombers, so I guess it's possible that I think maybe we shot down a couple. We'll find out. Now more wildcats scramble. And yes, this is what you really want to see. We did not lose any Allied aircraft, no losses. Three destroyed Nells, seven damaged out of a unit that we're just totally prepared to lose. There's no way to get those fighters off Wake. We are going to lose Wake. Look at this, 53 Nells coming in. Let's hope we can scramble on that um, because, well, it keeps, yeah, well, we only got three Buffaloes in the air, which is unfortunate when they come in like that. We only damaged one. They keep hitting the runway down here. We'll probably have to get the aircraft out here sooner rather than later before the runway becomes so damaged we can't get them out. They're going to hit again. We got two Buffaloes up. Who knows if we're going to have any planes left by the time this is all over. Sally's, Nate's, Oscars all coming in. We got one by flak. We didn't lose anything. Okay. Now they were looking at a lore star there. Now they're kind of looking all over. Sighting. I say they are looking. We're looking. These are all our sightings. Warhawk up out of, but this is probably out of Clark Field. Oh, okay. So this Betty overflew Baton and is trying to attack a ship. We had Warhawks up. Nothing destroyed, nothing hurt there. But it looks like they said, heck with it. We're not even going to mess with Clark Field or Manila. Let's go straight for your shipping. Now they're bringing Betty's into Hong Kong. That's, good. Anything we can get out of that. Hong Kong is a lost cause. They're basically bombing their own base at this point because, we can only hold on at Hong Kong for a few more turns. I mean, they're going to bring down a massive ground force here at some point. Uh, Only six Nells here. We got three Warhawks up. They are coming in over Manila now. We damaged one. They gave us some ground losses, airbase hits, runway hits. You don't like to see that at Manila or Clark Field because your big problem is if you just can't use the runway anymore and you can't take. Oh, I think these guys were on training missions. Well, we're gonna have to make sure that's not the case. We They did get up in the air, so they scrambled. Oh, look at that. Five destroyed, eight damaged. Very nice out of this Warhawk group. That's a really nice result. They're gonna ground bomb in China a bit. Okay, sure. They hit Tavoy. I told you they hit Tavoy and Victoria Point. The AI just loves to bomb there. Georgetown, a sighting. We still have, planes at Georgetown. These two planes up here at Kwanton, those are the ones that are being withdrawn soon. We may just go ahead and withdraw them. I do like to have the recon out, and if they get destroyed, they get destroyed. They're about to get withdrawn anyway. Again, the ands into Tavoy. I mean, we're not doing anything at Tavoy, so if they want to do that, they can do that all day long. We've now damaged two Sallies for what I consider foolish bombing runs. Now they're up and over Rangoon, it seems. Lots of sightings. Lots of sight. Oh, okay. Well, That was troop movement there. Now they're unloading at Wake, Vegan, Legazpi. We're starting to see the real movement here of Japanese ground forces. That Legazpi one is a little bit new. They're okay. Yeah, we're going to lose vegan, folks. I already knew that. Repairing ships, ending the pulse. We've had a very good turn so far. This has been good. We had a lot of nice anti-aircraft and air-to-air stuff going on. Uh, really, we haven't lost hardly anything. That's really all you need to do early in the game. We will go look at China, like I said. I always find that war fascinating. It could be a game all in and of itself, is just that Chinese war. I kind of wish Grigsby would do a bigger size war game that's a ground, kind of a ground unit game like this. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Like, sort of a war in the East, but have it be like a global conflict with, this size map and everything. I think that'd be awesome because the Chinese war in and of itself is really interesting. And of course, that's like 1/10 of this game, not even. See all these units moving in the US. Okay, we're starting to get some ground combat. This is Hong Kong, and so that look at the adjusted assault value. They've essentially got us, 4-1. That's what it says, 4-1. Fort level 3. They reduce the fortifications down to 2. Okay, that's why you have fortifications, because a big brunt of that attack hit the fortifications to the point where 787, 153. We'll take that all the time. 6-1 losses, maybe 5-1. My math might be a little off. Okay, they're coming across the river here towards Nanning. This is always an interesting part of this war because you're not in too bad a shape up there, actually. Now we have them outnumbered. We 157, even the adjusted 65. That is not a good attack odds for them. They lost 195. We lost 53. We'll keep that going. That'd be great. This is a nice sized brigade that they brought into vegan here, or vegan. I guess it's vegan would be V-E-J, V-E-J, V-E-G-A-N. I guess is vegan if you prefer. Yeah, they're gonna take that. That's 43-1. Huh. Oh, this is the unit we have on the other side of the river from Cheng Chao and Loi Gang. Interesting. Yeah, they're gonna make us retreat. Okay, that's fine. That's no loss. We wanted to bring them back that way anyway, probably. We just don't want to lose too much. 5402, eh. Look at this. I mean, they're not going to take anything within us, or they shouldn't take anything within an 8 assault value. You know, they're doing a bombardment attack, so they're staying away, but it's still going to show you what they've got. Interesting. I don't know. They're not going to take it with 8, I'll tell you that. Okay, so this was a great turn for us. Moving some stuff around. Got merging units. I guess this one ran a little bit long. I like to keep these to an hour. This one ran a little long because I had a lot of stuff I wanted to talk about, evidently, at the start. Hopefully, you guys found that helpful. Just kind of from a strategic perspective, looking at, okay, Pago, Nomaya, that's where we're moving these task forces. That task force in Cape Town, when we get that sorted out and get it right, that's going to be moving up towards Rangoon um, to Pagoo. I think most of those things are scheduled for Pagoo. And there we go. That is the completion of the turn. So, as always, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did and you haven't subscribed, please do. And also, hey, check me out on Twitch. I'm doing a lot of stuff over there. That's actually growing a lot faster than I expected it to, and I enjoy it. I like doing the live streams, and that's why I'm going to start doing more. Everything will always be available on the YouTube channel. It will, I'm streaming to both Twitch and YouTube, and then YouTube it has an upload as well. It's not like you have to be there at the moment. There will be a video to watch later. But if you like, kind of the back and forth, or if you just want to chat about the game, or hell, I don't know, chat about life, stop by the Twitch or on YouTube. YouTube streaming has gotten a lot better. Um, and so I'll be on both places. But as always, thank you for joining me. I will be live streaming 10 a.m. tomorrow, the kind of the pre next turn. What we're moving around, we'll probably focus on China, but we'll talk about all sorts of things, I'm sure. So anyway, till next time, Strategy Gaming Dojo. Thanks a lot. I'm out.